What's up, everybody?
Long time no see.
Yeah, you know. I want a nice podcast.
That is why I hate you.
You know what I realized? We never introduce ourselves when we do the podcast. Most podcasts are like...
Podcast is literally just us.
Hey, it's me, Matthew, sitting here. And I'm
I mean, we did in old episodes, like you would introduce us, and then
that's true.
You said you, and then I said me, because it's a familiarity thing. And by this point, even if you're a new listener, our faces are literally the podcast. Like it just, to me, it seems redundant. You know what? True. I know they say that it's like useful to do, but it's just like the stupid fucking thing on YouTube when people like, comment, and subscribe. It's like, that's the only things I can do.
Oh, my chair is really loud today. Yeah, that's true. I guess you're right. It is super fucking annoying, too, when people do that in the videos.
Imagine Joe Rogan had to say, welcome to the Joe Rogan podcast. I'm Joe Rogan.
That's true. He doesn't do that
That's so
ever.
Stupid.
And it's the Joe Rogan experience, okay?
I don't give a fuck. I don't listen to it.
Get the name right, man. Come on. If you're going to cite something, you got to at least get the name right.
Do I really? I think everybody understood what I was saying.
No,
I do apologize. My son is serial killing people in Texas right now. And it's going to be it's going to play throughout the entire episode. Oh, it's an absolute massacre.
You know, I didn't realize you got that game.
He's
I feel
super
like I need to pick it up.
Oh, you got everybody.
Is he good at the game?
He is scarily good at the game. Like, he was like coaching me how to play it.
See, I wish my kids played more standard games. My kids just play Roblox and other iPad fucking games that are not fun to play. I wish my kids would get into real games. You know? Your kids are into real
limitations. I mean, like, competitive, since he is like young, competitive like fighting games he likes playing, but he doesn't like losing at, so he throws baby tantrums about it.
No kid likes losing games.
But it is astounding watching him play Battlefront 2 and just wrecking house, and then just playing this,
everybody.
And playing this and watching him like taking people out. Like, I'm just like, why are you doing this? I used to try to walk in and give him advice because I've been playing games all my life.
Right.
And I realized I'm not helping him. I'm just getting in the way. He knows how to play this game, and I suck at it. So why am I going to tell him how to play it?
My daughter asks me that all the time about platformers. She's always like, how are you so good at this? I've been playing the same general game for like 30 years now, you know? Like, they haven't changed much since 3 platformers came out. They're all pretty much the same. So I gotta get them into real games. You know what I need to do is get them on the Switch playing Breath of the Wild, or something like that.
I mean,
they'd enjoy that.
As long as they don't like. I don't know necessarily how your goal oriented your kids are. Like my son, he is very goal oriented, so like open world games bore him very quickly.
Okay, so he needs like some nice linear mission. Here's what you're supposed to do. Go do it.
Yeah. And Texas, like, he loves horror movies. He hasn't seen many, but he loves the idea of them. So obviously, as he grows up, we're going to be doing that together because I need somebody in this house to do that with. So, like, for Christmas, for Halloween, he wants to be Leatherface. So I'm trying to put together a whole costume for him. And he told me, I want the dinner suit, and we're going to make him a mask. And he's like, can I get a chainsaw that's the right colors? Because the one I have isn't the right colors. Because he bought himself a toy chainsaw from Amazon, and I had to research it. And he wants the one that looks like the one from the movie. And all his knowledge from the movie is literally just the game. But he looks at the behind the scenes stuff, and he's like, he's just into the movie, like not into the movie in like the weird, like it's gory death sort of way, but literally like how it was made. How they made it look as scary as it is. He likes that.
Right.
Like, I would love if
does he watch like full horror movies? Like,
so the only full horror movie he technically watched was Predator, and I don't even that's considered. That's what I'm saying. It's like action horror almost.
Yeah, that's not really a horror movie.
But not necessarily because he's not old enough to really. I don't want him to, because he still doesn't have the full maturity level of not having constant nightmares, and I don't want him in my bed.
Right.
And
Right.
you're helpless in a horror movie. Like this, you're purely helpless. He doesn't play the victims in Texas Chainsaw. He plays the killers.
He's playing his Leatherface.
So he's not in the fear-based portion of it.
Right.
And
no, I get it.
Until he's older, I don't want to necessarily have him watch that. But he wants to watch Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh well, there's the game
movie.
just came out, which my daughter's been asking me. She wants to play.
Good. He wants me to buy it.
Oh, maybe we'll get it and they can play together. I haven't heard. I've heard mixed reviews. I've heard I think like IGN gave it a 7, which is like a good score from IGN. They give everything that's not a AAA title. They give everything that's not a AAA title.
Dude, IGN,
same type of
IGN.
scores.
If you want to see the true, like what I've noticed about IGN is I'll watch IGN for a second and I'll realize all I have to do is read the top comment, and I got everything I wanted out of it. It's been a new thing people have been doing. It's just the top comment tells you exactly what they rated it, for what reason, and is done.
Right. Yeah. That's the best way to go. I even when I watch IGN's video reviews, I just skip to the verdict at the end.
Yeah.
Because YouTube has the little graph when you fast forward that shows like the most watched sections of the video. It's easy to get to because it seems like everybody does the same thing I do. There's always a big hump right where the verdict portion is.
They are far from when they were game trailers. So,
but I told you I'm playing Resident Evil 4 now, and it's so good. I don't know why I started off not liking it. I mean, I explained to you I think it was just a little repetitive. The first chapter or two were just enter an area, clear the area, enter an area, clear the area, and it's like survival horror. Like the old Resident Evil games where they instead of okay, what am I trying to say here?
I don't know.
Instead of the old style of you have very limited ammo and you can use it sparingly and you're mostly running away from bad guys. I don't remember how it was in the original Resident Evil 4, but in the remake you're just constantly running away, but you're killing everybody. So you're like shoot, run, get to a safe area, turn around. Yeah,
very serious.
Get to a safe.
Sam style.
There's lots of paths. Yeah, there's lots of paths you can take throughout the area to get away and kind of circle back. But it's like, yeah, you're going to run away and you got to try to avoid them, but you're going to kill every one of the. They're not even zombies; they're just like infected people.
Las Plagas.
But since I initially complained about it, the gameplay has varied greatly. There's lots of different little sections of different types of gameplay, and there's like the bosses of fights have been great. It's so good.
Leave it to an IGN editor to just play like the first few hours and be like, even though Resident Evil is, I know they probably rated it well because it was AAA.
I'm sure they did. Yeah,
like they do that with a lot of games.
Except
speaking of horror,
there's one enemy in the game that continuously comes up, and I swear to God, it sounds like he's saying, "Eat my asshole." I don't know what he's saying, but it sounds like "Eat my asshole," and he says it over and over and over again. Remember when? What was it? Was it Back for Blood, or what was that game where the bad guys were saying the N-word in the game?
That was Left 4 Dead. That was Left 4 Dead.
Yeah.
Okay, bud. I am recording now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he forgot. No big deal.
You know, I have the headphones on that I don't wear at any given time except for when I'm recording.
He thinks you're listening to Steven Seagal's reggae song.
I love that punani, baby.
I had never heard it before, and yesterday Joaquin played me Steven Seagal's reggae song after we were making fun of the way he runs and watching videos about that. And oh my God, that's the best song ever. It's my new favorite song. Does he have a whole album?
I think it's a whole album.
Oh my God, I got it. Oh, Spotify, here I come.
So, speaking of horror movies, I did watch, because I have this habit, I watch a lot of Tubi horror movies. most movies on Tubi are horror, even if it's not in the horror genre.
Okay.
And there is one that's a Tubi original called Low Lives or Low Lifes. It's kind of your stereotypical nutso cannibal family meets and kills people.
Nothing like a Tubi original. You know what?
What?
I shouldn't say that because that Bill Burr Tubi series was really good. The horror series.
Low Lives, even though the ending, I'm not going to no spoilers. I'm just going to say the ending pissed me off. The circumvention of the tropes were amazing. They did really well with that. The acting was really good, and it kind of felt like they like Chuck and is it Chuck and Dale or Ted and Dale Against Evil or whatever the movie is called.
About, yeah.
I think it sort of takes the premise of flipping everything on its end, but done seriously.
Okay, I get it. That sounds interesting.
It's definitely a movie I have to say on Tubi is a horror movie that's worth watching on there. Because I saw another movie called Trap House. Oh, that was a mistake. It was trying to be Saw, and it really stuck with me for all the wrong reasons.
Was trying to be Saw? Was it like same general scenario, like people set up in fucked up situation? Traps?
Pretty much like cop that was a little too into his job catching a killer, but except the killer is a drug dealer in this one. And they're in a trap house that's literally a trap house.
You know those drug dealers.
Oh yeah, they have enough time and money to put up an elaborate trap in their crack house.
They dedicate most of their time to elaborate trap killings. Yep.
Yeah. So there was that. But yeah, I've been finding it really hard to sit and watch movies, especially because I think I said it on air before, and I say that a lot too, is fucking I want to punch whoever is the head of Blue Moon Productions right now. The people who made Puppet Master.
Oh, okay.
They came out with some garbage. Like straight. First of all, they had this movie called Ooga Booga, right? And Ooga Booga sticks with me. I suggest nobody watch it. I love the name. I suggest nobody watch it. I thought I was going to get a good, comical, racist time. That's what I was expecting. Because
I love the name.
It's about a fetish doll, and not that kind of like an actual like African doll? Or whatever. No. African fetish doll, like in that horror movie, like Night of Terror, the little creature, the little doll with the sharp teeth that chases the woman around with the knife. That's called a fetish doll. It's like a voodoo fetish doll.
I've never heard of that before in my life.
Well, that's what they're called.
But okay,
that's how, that was my frame of reference for the word fetish until I was a teenager. So imagine that awkward conversation when I said the word fetish doll, and I'm like, people were looking at me
like, "Oh, I love fetish dolls."
They're a scary monster, but I understand why they don't use the word anymore. But and it's pretty much like this guy is going to college with his girlfriend, gets killed, and he gets brought back inside of this voodoo doll, this tiny little voodoo doll. And there's a scene.
Is its name Ooga Booga?
Yeah, a big bone in the nose and everything.
Oh,
it's bad. It is
racist.
Bad. Oh, it is. Like again, if it's silly, if it's funny, I can deal with it. When it's just bad taste, and this whole movie is bad taste. It's just all bad taste. Like this is how I know there was some kind of maliciousness behind this film. There is a forced intimacy scene in the movie with the girlfriend.
Why are you using the term forced intimacy?
Because my child is in very close vicinity of me.
You just said fetish.
Yeah, that's a whole different thing. Again, I had the context for that. What's the other context for the other word? Please, please tell me.
I'll go ahead and spell it out. There's a rape scene. Go ahead.
I hate you so much.
I said it for you, so you didn't have to say it.
Yeah, you said it with an attitude.
Because you said fetish 2 seconds ago.
I already explained. There is other context for that word.
Not really.
Yes, there is.
I mean, there's one context that's
Then what is the other context for the other word that it can be used in a different way that is not the way that is intended?
I'm just saying that if there's another context
And
for the word
I'm sorry,
fetish,
if he repeated me saying fetish, he wouldn't get in nearly as much trouble as the other word. If he repeated that word.
all right, fine. If you say,
You know I'm
guess you're
correct.
right.
You just don't want to admit it.
I mean, I guess you're right. He would probably get more trouble, but it'd still be weird either way.
Either way, jeez. So after the scene, they play it very seriously.
Just don't put the two words together.
Oh God! Oh my God! I even put now it's stuck.
Now you're going down a whole different hallway.
Literally and figuratively.
Mm-hmm. Anyway,
so, well, actually, this kind of you saying that leads to this because this messed up. Then you find out that the reason why it even happened was because she wanted to lead the two guys that killed him into a false sense of security to get her close. So she let that happen.
Oh, that's fucked
And
up.
while she's like sadly showering in the bathroom, Mr. Ooga Booga pops up and he's looking at her. Mind you, he can't talk as the doll.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. It's just funny.
And then he starts just going at it while watching her crying, showering.
That's tough.
I was so
What are you
mad.
watching? What are you watching?
This is from the people who made Puppet Master
Why are you
and Evil Bong, because I
You
look
know
at bad horror movies.
You know how to turn things off, right?
I said I stopped the movie, didn't I?
Oh no, I didn't.
That still
realize you
stuck
said that.
with me.
Okay, you stopped it at that point.
But
you were like,
I was just like,
I've had enough.
Because I didn't expect him to start doing that. I thought it was just going to be like a
Who would?
serious scene, but they just like undercut it with what I guess was supposed to be funny.
Right. I guess
I was
that's
like,
what they're. I guess.
How
I don't know what else they're going for.
How broken is the right? Like it went through writing, editing, directing, editing, acting.
And nobody said no.
Nobody was like, can't.
Actually,
can we not
maybe
do
this is
this?
a bad idea.
Let's just not do this.
It was probably one of those productions where like the director or writer or whatever had just had carte blanche to do whatever the fuck they wanted.
And they just
everybody was
did
scared.
It. Yeah.
Everybody was scared to say anything.
And so with Blue Wind Productions, they get so lazy. There's a movie that came out, I want to say last year, that's literally just a highlight reel of all their other movies.
Yeah.
But it's all like in the middle of scenes. So there's no connecting. There's no connecting tissue to anything in the movie. It's just slapped together in like this
sounds like an AMC preview. Sounds like an AMC preview for the next. You ever used to watch Breaking Bad or Mad Men, and they'd have the next episode, and it was just completely disjointed,
out of context,
random, yeah. You'd be like, okay, so I have no idea what's going to happen.
Yep,
they did it for every one of their shows.
That's exactly what this movie was. I'm like, your production company just doesn't give a shit about anything.
That sounds like it.
And who's paying for this?
Thank you for that image now, though. That movie image is going to be in my head now. So thanks.
Well, the fact that I said the title, I saw it in your eyes. You're like, I might see that. Because it's stupid. It sounds stupid. No. It sounds goofy. You would have.
It sounds ridiculously goofy. Absolutely.
And it is, except that scene happens. And it's just like, I can't watch this. I have a limit. I learned I have a limit. Yeah,
that's a really rough time in your life when you realize what your ceiling is. When you think you've got absolutely sky's the limit. You're good with anything. I
survived Kazaa and Morpheus.
You're good with it, the most fucked up things in the world, and you realize it's not true. You have a
Rotten.com was a big thing. Like,
yeah. Does this still exist?
I don't know. I remember like LiveLeak was basically the new version of that for a while.
Yeah, and I don't even know if that exists anymore.
I think that's all dark web stuff now.
Yeah, it must be. And before that, it was just the Faces of Death TV or VHS tapes. So,
yeah, that people are arguing were real and were not real, and some of us claim to have seen, and some people put up as freaking clips on Kazaa. Kazaa messed me up.
Kazaa?
Yeah.
That's going back.
Yeah, that and Morpheus, they were just... hey,
I
I'm
don't
just gonna
remember
download
Morpheus.
every bit of music. There's like 20 different songs that like said Weird Al Yankovic, and it was just random people making up music online. Shale was even one of them.
Oh, was he? That doesn't
The
surprise me.
music of my groin was attributed to Weird Al.
Speaking of, he is very, very much into AI generated music.
Oh
now.
yeah, he's super into it right now.
He's posted so much of it, and it's so weird to me because I'm
You know
like,
what's really
but you're
weird
like
about it? He
you're
sings
a really
over it.
talented musician. I
Well,
know
one, he sings
put
over
one
it.
up to
You
the
can
dick.
hear his voice. I don't know.
No,
I think he's trying to find a way to integrate both.
He uploaded his voice, and it mimics
That's
it.
how he did it. Okay, because it was so weird to me. Some things didn't sound right, and I didn't know if he was trying to sing along to it.
No, he posted. He had put up a tweet that he was able to upload his voice, and I asked him about it. He said it was like a beta thing because I didn't have access to it, and I was like, "Oh, that's so interesting." But it's just so weird to me that he's so into AI generated music when he's such a talented musician or songwriter.
And you know that he puts the same amount of enthusiasm into like the AI work as he does his actual work, which is so bizarre.
It's just weird to me because it's just like a copywriter being super excited about somebody, ChatGPT taking their job. And he's like so into the idea of creating music with creating music with AI. And he's
he does write a lot of the songs too.
The lyrics and
like
stuff.
You
I know
could tell
writing,
his lyrics. Yeah, you could tell his lyrics.
He always posts the prompts. What he uses the prompts, but he posts like dozens a day, and it's just.
But he's also
so
face value. But I do like how he's like face value about it. It's out there,
right? It's very open and honest.
It makes it feel more ethical. Yeah, it makes it feel more ethical to use.
I agree.
Like I use it for fun and personal use, so that's different. But he's like putting his music out there, but he's doing it like this is what I did. This is how I did it.
Yes,
like
it's a very ethical treatment of not publishing but releasing new music that's been generated with AI. I gotta ask him though. I'm just curious, like where.
I don't know what the end goal is.
Do you consider this like music that you've created now? Like to you, is this any different than your existing catalog of songs you've actually written? Do you consider this an extension of that catalog? Do you
it's more of a collaboration,
separate entity? Yeah, I'm just curious how he feels about it. I'm sure he probably feels it's like a separate entity that he's creating music this way, and it's not. It's not like he's adding
experimenting with a new instrument.
That's a good way to put it. That is a good way to put it. But it's so he's really good at it. I mean, he's really learning to master.
There are at least 3 of them I've heard because I talked to him on Discord.
Right.
There's at least 3 of them he sent to me that I legitimately like. Like if they were just normal songs.
He's posted a bunch that are really good. It's creepy. He's
creepy. Also producing a lot faster than he normally ever would.
No, I mean he stopped putting. I can't remember the last time he released an original song. At this point, it's been a couple years. I think.
I mean,
so
granted,
I guess
he doesn't have like his current situation. He doesn't have the same space or like the equipment that he had when he was making his real music. I can't even call it real music. That was his real music. It's his real music now. Like again, he's using the tools that he has right now. I still think he would make songs alongside it, but right now this is most convenient for him to get that creative energy out.
Right,
through his
that
music
makes sense.
Anyway,
and that's good. I'm glad he's using that as an outlet to put stuff out there. But it's really interesting to see what he's able to come up with. I got to mess around. I actually literally I was just out and I had an idea for a t-shirt, and at the same time I thought to myself, I really want to mess with AI, with Suno again. So I set a reminder to later on to open it up and play around with it a little bit.
Yeah, Suno's definitely one of the better ones.
Well, there's Suno, and then I can't remember the name of the other one. There's 2.
I didn't like the other one as much.
You did? Oh, that's right.
I like the interface of the other. I like the interface of the other one a little bit more, but Suno still did better overall. Sorry.
Yeah, Shale's using Suno, I believe. So
yeah, he is.
He would.
Him and I are following each other.
He would know which one makes the most sense to use. Oh, I didn't even realize you could follow each other on there. They need to come up with a mobile app. They need a mobile app.
It's not user friendly. Like, at least when you're a new user or you're not explorative, it's not super easy to like navigate, especially on mobile. I
really want access to that upload your voice feature, because that just sounds so much fun. That just sounds like it would be so much fun to do.
Away from AI, unless you have something else to say about it.
Nope. No, that's it.
This morning I got introduced to well, I didn't get introduced. I got pulled back into like the thought of like the fat acceptance movement.
Okay.
Like things people were talking about. Apparently there's this group, if you ever heard of them, called the Park Hoppers.
The Park Hoppers. No, I don't think I've heard of them.
So there's this group called the Park Hoppers that are just like, as they say, plus size women that go from theme park to theme park and airports, and essentially the way they put it is that they go enjoy life because you know they accept their bodies, and you know they're just living their best lives and being happy, but their whole ethos is to tell people how to accommodate for them. So like this restaurant needs to not have chairs with arms on them so they can accommodate people that are like us. And airplanes should give us airplane seats for free because they have to take up 2 seats.
Right.
And I'm like, so Tom Segura made fun of them.
Of course he did. Yeah, of course he did.
And the way he did it was so like self-deprecating, because he was like, why can't you just hate yourself like I did?
Okay.
And it makes sense to me. It's like shame is an emotion that's not. It makes you feel negative, but it's a motivational emotion. Yeah, yes. Now, if it's unwarranted shame, then it is bad. But shame for not taking care of your own health is not unwarranted. Like if I don't bathe, I should be shamed for that.
You're right. You're absolutely right. So does that extend to people of size?
Well, first of all, people of if I feel like if you're past the 200 mark, like if you pass 200 to 300, I feel like you are incapable of wiping your own butt, depending on your height.
300?
200 pounds, not 200 like 200 something. I mean, once that 2 turns into a 3.
Oh, okay. Once you hit 300
once the
pounds.
200, once you hit 300 pounds, I should have said that. That was less confusing.
Yeah,
once you hit 300 pounds, I feel like, depending on your height especially, you're not capable of effectively wiping your butt. And that, to me, is a miserable thing. It's a miserable... I was introduced to the fact that there are partners who have to wash their partners behind. That is love. I love my wife, but I can't imagine unless there was like a big accident.
Yeah, I mean,
that I would wipe my wife's behind.
If there's like a medical circumstance that leads to it, physically unable to do it because of an accident or something like that, that's one thing. But
that's one thing. But like self-imposed, like immobilization and incapability of bathing.
Like, see, this is why I advocate for bidets. Okay, it doesn't matter if you're 300 pounds; you can use a bidet. All right.
Yes. Now, even that. Imagine a big person, and mind you, I'm not trying to shit on big people necessarily.
Sure.
This is literally people who feel like your health doesn't matter and you should just accept it, and not even that, but double down on saying that it's good. It's like, okay, a bathtub, a normal bathtub. If you notice, if you fill it to a certain point, depending on your size, because I'm a bigger guy, the water rises. So you need to put less water in the bathtub. What thin layer of water for somebody who's 300 plus is going to really be effective? Because you can't stand in the shower. And I know there are 300-pound people who stand in the shower. There are 300-pound people who work on their feet.
Yeah.
But these people are not the people I think that do that, especially if your ankles are bigger than my head.
No, absolutely not. No, I agree with you. They're not the people that do that. No.
There was this one woman I saw in the same video that like her legs were huge, and she never really got up from her bed. Unfortunately, I think she passed away recently. But I'm just like,
They make a TLC show about her.
I don't know. I don't think she was on a TLC show. I think she was literally a fat positivity activist.
That sounds like a perfect TLC show person. Anyway, go ahead.
I don't know, but she had a lot of them have been passing away recently. But
I wonder why.
I'm just like, you do know doubling down and lying is a common thing people do on the internet. Like, marrying yourself to these terrible things is not smart, because again, for me, it's a hygiene thing. I am so bothered by hygiene in that regard. If you are that big, and you should be
makes
too.
sense. You're
and
right.
now you're telling other people how to come. Yep, and then you have a group like this telling people how they should accommodate for them because of their bodies, but then you're saying you're happy. No, you're not. You are clearly lying. The fact that you have to go and tell people how they should treat you is a sign of unhappiness.
I think you're right.
And it's not like something you can't help. This is something you can help. It's a self-control thing. I struggle with it every day. I know that it's difficult.
Sure, so do I.
I know that some medications make it difficult. I know certain situations. Some people eat their feelings. It is exactly that, but self-control is still that. And you are now telling everybody to accept your bad habits and saying, well, that's okay. You are not happy. Don't pretend that you are, because all those people are super passive-aggressive. Even if they speak in a soft, kind voice, they're always passive-aggressive. They're always telling people how they should treat them instead of focusing on how they treat others. Because you walk into the room just demanding how people should do things for you is a dick move. Doesn't matter how nice you say it.
Agreed. It wouldn't be tolerated from, other situations. Wouldn't be tolerated at all. If I walked into a room, started telling people how they needed to accommodate for me or tolerate me, or just, I personally like being a dick, but I don't like when people are a dick to me. So you're going to have to deal with the fact that I'm kind of an asshole to you, and you're not allowed to do it to me.
That's exactly what it's like.
No one would tolerate
If you
that.
want to see the perfect example of that, in the fat acceptance movement is Virgie Tovar. Fuck her.
I don't know
that is exactly how she is. She took rejection, and this is a speculation that I think is funny. She took the rejection of a former boyfriend and turned it into her career. Pretty much lying to everybody so she can easily lie to herself and have an army to reinforce her hurt feelings.
Yeah, that's
like, she's clearly supervillain energy. Like, her whole big shtick is like,
that's a very good way of putting it. Supervillain energy.
Her whole shtick is, you should eat that extra piece of cake, and you should be ashamed for wanting a smaller piece of cake. It's like, the woman's eating the cake regardless. Let her be a little healthier by not taking such a big piece. And guess what? If she takes a small piece and everybody eats some more, if she wants to go back and give some more and make that bad choice, then she can make that choice. But you are just telling her, no, just be a glutton and just bury all your feelings in food.
Well, it's more than that, because it's like you said, you're doubling down. Not only are you saying be a glutton, bury your feelings, do whatever you want, you're also saying if you choose not to do that, you're a bad person.
You're a bad person.
Which is even worse. I mean, that's even worse than...
Yeah. And with the airplane thing, like, an airplane, each row has 5 seats. One side has 2, the other side has 3. That's usually how coach works. Now you're telling me your big ass is going to take up the 2, and I have to sit next to you? We're near the exit door. I can't do this with you.
How would that even work, though? They're like, the chairs, you one cheek on each chair? Like,
yeah, that's pretty much how it works. I'm not even being funny. That's literally how it works. I don't know how it's comfortable.
Hey, look, if that's the space you have to take up, then I think you have to pay for that extra seat, right? Because somebody else isn't getting it.
And something terrified me today, because I guess when I was looking up, I saw that video. My feed on Instagram started following like other things that were popping up. I don't know how it worked out, but it was just perfect timing. And my feed on Instagram showed a fat model, not a model like a person who's fat, just like 3D model of a fat person,
Right.
but it was like see through, and then it was the skeleton underneath.
Oh, I've seen that plenty of times.
And
Yeah.
I guess
seen
because I
similar
was
things
in
to
that
that.
headspace because I saw the video, I was just like, yeah, that hurts to look at.
Yeah, absolutely. That little
Like
frame.
I'm sitting here poking my ribs and my hips, going, okay, it's not that much away from.
Okay.
Ooh, that
I can feel my
I
ribs
still
there.
my midsection is bad, but I
I don't
can
have
feel
to dig. I don't have to dig for it.
like just like that thought was just like I can't
Yeah,
imagine.
Got that spare tire, but I can still feel my bones.
I can still feel my bones. Like I just have cushion. Like I have
Yeah.
shock absorbers.
Oh,
So
shit. Yeah, that's irritating.
unless you have
as
anything
hell.
else
but
again.
that's it's just another example of people being selfish and being, again, imposing their will on others, and you have to do what I think is right, and you don't get to think for yourself. It's just another example, which is just annoying.
And lastly, because I know we probably need to get into our topic soon.
Yeah.
I would like to do a segment called Rap Lyrics That Should Be Remembered, or Lyrics That Should Be Remembered. In today's episode, I'd like to bring up the main G himself, Andrew Tate,
Oh, the original.
the original G, and his wonderful song, Suicide. Here are lyrics that should be remembered. Doors, Suicide, Kurt Cobain. Another line. No hope, I was broke. Did it dirty, no soap.
No soap. No soap.
No soap.
No soap.
Make 'em wanna lose their mind. When they see the money, wanna roll with the gang. They're coming two at a time.
Why are they coming? What? Why two at a time?
These are his lyrics, man. No joke, free smoke, supermodels, deep throat.
This sounds like the lyrics to "The End of the World as You Know It" by REM. Like, say it again.
Which line?
That line. All of them. They're all the same.
Yeah. No joke, free smoke, supermodels, deep throat.
Yeah. No joke. Deep smoke. Supermodel deep throat.
It does.
It's the
yeah,
end
absolutely.
of the world as we know it.
Here's a good one. That's me. That's me. Big Daddy G A-T to the E. Money on my mind.
A-T to the E? Wait, what about the first T?
I still think he said T-A-T, and I think the Google lyrics screwed it up.
T-A-T
I think it's
to
Big
the
Daddy T-A-T to the E. Tate.
T-A-T to the E.
Money on my mind. Every
I
day,
didn't-
every night. Mess with me, and you're committing suicide. That's right.
I didn't know he had any songs. This is amazing.
Of course he did.
I
This
can't
is
wait to listen
these
to
are
the
his
actual
pre-prison songs. There's one like when I heard this yesterday, I was in tears because of how lame he is.
This is pre-prison?
I think this is pre-lockup.
All right, so after lockup, it's like, drop soap. Nope. Butt hurt. Don't squirt.
Oh, here we go. It was after. Okay, so I'm going to read it from No Joke, Free Smoke. Because
Okay.
it's part of that line. No joke, free smoke, supermodels, deep throat. On a wave while you're struggling to float. Still setting sails. Might buy myself a boat. Or a yacht. I'm too hot. Might buy myself a boat.
This just sounds
Or a
like
yacht.
stream of consciousness. It doesn't sound like you
It's-
put any effort into this.
And I'm sure his brother helped him. Like, just two meatballs just
Oh, absolutely.
The lyrics are
You know
so
what?
bad,
My
and you know what? They should be remembered.
My
These-
my absolutely favorite my favorite rap lyric ever is from Old Town Road. It's my life is a movie. Borat is a movie. That's the best line ever.
oh, that must be the clean version.
My life is a movie. Borat is a movie.
Is that the lyrics? Because that has to be
positive.
If that is, because I know he said, I swore he said, "My life is a movie, cowboy hats and boobies." That's what I thought he said.
Oh,
Because this is when Lil Nas X was pretending to be straight
hold on.
and was failing at it.
Was I wrong the whole time? I thought that was the way-
I'm hoping you were wrong.
My life is a movie, bull riding and boobies.
Bull riding and
It's-
boobies.
Okay,
and
well,
boobies, not cowboy hats.
It says Borat is a movie.
Like I've had to sing loudly over over the song, so my kids didn't necessarily hear what he was saying.
My life is a
At the
movie.
time.
Borat is a movie.
Okay, so I'm glad that wasn't correct.
Wait, is there a clean version? Maybe
I don't know. I don't know. There's a clean version. I never found it.
All right. Well,
I never looked for it.
All right, I guess I'm wrong. I always. Oh man, that's so
Borat is a
disappointing.
movie. See,
so
folks, we could definitely be wrong all the time.
That's so disappointing to me because I always thought that was the best lyric ever.
Now I'm going to start singing that in the car if ever the kids want to hear that song.
Borat
Again.
is a movie.
My life is a movie. Borat is a movie.
I like it because it's
I really like movies.
The
I watch them
laziness-
on Tubi.
the laziness of rhyming movie with movie, but also just randomly saying
That is
Borat
the
is
most
a movie.
That is the most Lil Wayne thing. Like Lil Wayne would do that just to mess with people. Like
Whatever, I love it. All right, fine, let's get into our topic.
It's time to begin the complaining.
Our topic this week is Generation Participation Trophy, which I mean
woo.
kind of goes without saying. I don't think I need to explain it, but it's this generation of kids that gets participation trophies for everything, and
Not even just this generation. They
not
tried
even
to
this
start
generation.
that shit with us.
That's true. They did try. I remember my my brother, who's only 3 years younger than me, getting a participation trophy for Little League. That was just like you played Little League. Here's your trophy. Congratulations.
Gold stars for everybody.
You did it. You were successful in participating in this event. You didn't do well necessarily. He actually did very well. He was on the All-Star League, in the All-Star League, but in general. But the reason it kind of comes up is because I wanted to complain about Miss Riley Gaines and her book. All right, so if you don't know who Riley Gaines is, a couple years ago, there was a big hubbub about this trans athlete swimmer named Leah Thomas competing in the NCAA finals for women's swimming. And it was, the red team lost their mind and the blue team lost their mind supporting the trans swimmer and hating the trans swimmer, respective, obviously, to the correct colors. And there was this one swimmer named Riley Gaines who tied with Leah Thomas, the trans athlete. And I remember at the time, I thought that they had tied for first place in whatever the particular, I don't remember the exact event it was, 200 meter something freestyle, I don't know, whatever it was. And that's not the case at all. They tied for fifth place. They tied for fifth fucking place, right?
Okay.
Who gives a shit about fifth place, right? But then that obviously was like, okay, whatever. But she made a big deal, and they made a big deal out of the fact that they only had one trophy for fifth place. Which, when I talked to Joaquin about this the other day, we were talking about it's a trophy. She gets a trophy for fifth place. We didn't think that there was anything for fifth place, and they told Riley Gaines that they were going to give the trophy to the trans athlete Leah Thomas for all the photo ops because they wanted her to have the trophy. And I posted on Facebook that I read the book, and I didn't know why I read the book. And one of my Facebook friends wrote that he thought it was really funny that the red side that complains about participation trophies had a problem with this whole situation where she didn't get her participation trophy. Anyway,
they're all babies, each side.
They
all the talking heads.
They're absolutely all babies. But okay, I'm gonna just read my review of the book. So this is my review of the book. I read this book because I was interested in Miss Gaines' perspective on transgender athletes and sports. I personally find the issue incredibly difficult to navigate and was interested in the insights and suggestions that she might put forth in the book. And I've talked about this many times. I read sometimes conservative viewpoints or books or articles or stories because I'm genuinely interested in that viewpoint. I've talked about John McWhorter and how good he is about writing about viewpoints I might not necessarily agree with and how convincing he is. And I've talked about how hard it is to find that for me. I find that it's a lot easier for me to find liberal viewpoints with good coherent arguments than it is to find conservative viewpoints with good coherent arguments. Anyway, I didn't get any insights or suggestions on how to navigate the difficult questions about how to balance the trans community's participation in sports and fairness to biological women, as, let's face it, the issue doesn't really affect biological men, right? It's really only an issue. The biological men competing against trans men, it's a non-issue. Because it's
still just
they don't win. They don't win. It's the issue comes up when trans women were previously men are competing against biological women have this perceived advantage, right? So my takeaways were as follows. Miss Gaines complains over and over in the book that people dig at her by calling her a sore loser. It comes up. She talks about it at least half a dozen times, how she gets called a sore loser all the time.
Which is so childish regardless. Not even by her complaint. If she's being called a sore loser, which, I mean, sounds like it's just by definition, it's such a baby insult to make.
It is. But my point was, she opens the book talking about how much of a sore loser she is when she was younger and how she hates to lose. Yeah. She spends the entire first chapter or two talking about...
Does she call that being competitive? I was just so competitive. No, she's literally mentioned she's a sore loser.
She specifically says she hates to lose, and she threw tantrums when she would lose things.
So she self-reports?
She self-reports being a sore loser and then complains about people calling her a sore loser. And to me, it seemed very clear that she took losing and tying with a trans athlete very, very poorly. It wasn't a matter of this isn't fair. She was like, I lost, and I'm mad, and I
never grew out of this.
That trans athlete took my trophy. Now, I did say she does bring up a handful of good points that I suspect were spoon-fed to her for the book. I guarantee you she came up with her on her own. I know there's a ghostwriter or something involved. It's on the book cover, but
an editor,
somebody spoon-fed her a couple points, but she doesn't back any of her points up with facts, right? She repeats over and over again, for example, that trans women have an advantage in sports because they were born male. But she only provides a single fact to back that up. She talks about testosterone levels having to be in a certain range. That's the only fact she brings up. But she doesn't offer any perspective on how that supports her claim. She just mentions the fact that women have this level of testosterone, but she doesn't use that to support her claim. She just
makes a statement,
right,
and then moves on.
And then she claims it's she essentially just claims it's a given. And everyone with a brain knows that to be true. Like, it's just a given that all men have an advantage in sports over women. She just claims that's a given. And, that might be true. I'm not arguing that that's not true.
I'm not saying it is or isn't. I still feel like men and women should just blend it all and see how it happens for a couple of years.
Your book is focused on this topic. Provide support for your claims.
Well, you know what? You're right. She actually isn't showing her experience with what she's going through. Instead, she's talking about the topic as if she's a subject matter expert.
Right. That's her book. Her book. In fact, I'm going to bring that up. But you are writing a book about this. Support your claims. Don't just be. Everybody with a brain knows that. Yeah. Any writer with a brain knows you have to support your claims in your book. You have to back it up.
You're right.
Also, she provides no suggestions for the solution to the issue she wrote an entire book about, right? Her conclusion was basically don't really do anything, leave everything as it is with the two sexes competing against each other, and you have to compete against those who match your sex at birth. So much for being a subject matter expert. She gives absolutely
that's very much so. I just realized that sounds so much like every like talking head red state person. Not saying red people are like that. It's a talking head like conservative. Always their answer always is do nothing, let's keep complaining.
But that's what she is now. She's a talking head conservative that goes around on shows and talks about this fucking point. And like again, I thought you were a subject matter expert. I thought I was reading this book because you're claiming you're deeply ingrained in this world and you know how it works and you know the way it should be. Yet you offer no solutions. You're just like, it should just be the same. It should just be the same. Also drove me crazy that she goes on and on about gender being binary, but she has a specific part in the book where she talks about how intersex people are a real thing. Like there are legitimately people born with both genitalia or semi-developed one genitalia or the other.
Yeah.
So you in your book make the claim and acknowledge that that's correct, but then you go and say there's it's binary. There's only two. It's male and female. Well, you said there's intersex people. Mm-hmm. That's gray. That's not black and white, right? Like,
well, I mean, objectively it exists, but I feel like it shouldn't.
Yeah, well, that's what it is. That's what it comes down to, right? So that's the last part of my review is just aside from her retelling the story behind competing against Thomas. So I did find that interesting to read about, what went on those days, her going to the locker room and Leah Thomas being in the locker room and having to change and, the actual day of the competition and what was going on. That was telling a story. It was a narrative. I found it interesting. And she did also talk about how she was attacked on a San Francisco campus. So that was an actual narrative put forth about what happened that day. Other than that, the whole book was just biased propaganda that attacks the transgender community, period. That's all it was.
Imagine writing a whole book and feeling so butthurt about 5th place.
I know. And that's what it boiled down to. I couldn't believe it when I read that, got to that and was like, wait, I thought they tied for first place. And that was the whole issue.
You're pissy for a participation trophy. Like, that is insane.
You're mad about a participation trophy that you didn't win. You lost.
Isn't that like your 5th out of like 50?
And how does that make you a special?
Not the top.
And how does this make you an expert on this? How does this make you a voice on this matter? Because you swam against a transgender athlete, that qualifies you to be a subject matter expert now?
Like, that just got me. Like, you were in a race. It wasn't like you were the 5th to make it. Everybody in the race ends the race.
Right.
Everybody ends the race. All of them participated. All of them are amazing athletes for doing so.
Sure, absolutely.
But you weren't the best of the best, and you're mad at the trans person who wasn't the best of the best either.
Right. It's not like
it's just like, oh, they have a target on them because they're trans.
Right. Exactly. Thank you. That is the point I'm trying to make. It's not like you and the trans person tied and you were beseeched because the trans person was given the title and given the trophy and treated as the winner, even though you tied, and it's not fair because it was a trans athlete anyway. No, it's all moot, dude. You came in 5th place and so did she,
And mind you, let's just talk about the trans athlete for a second. They literally it worked in the other way too. It's like, now if her argument was, well, we shouldn't coddle them because they are a trans athlete, I agree.
Right.
They shouldn't have gotten the trophy either. It should have been, good job, thanks for trying. Just like everyone below 3rd place.
Yeah, it's hard.
And let them be forgotten like everyone else. But we have to spotlight it because they need trans visibility right now, apparently. So with that being the case, and I know that I said that kind of flippantly, but I feel like visibility is always such a weird thing, especially online.
Yeah.
But since visibility is such a big thing, I get that. But you know what? If she didn't do anything, it would have been a fart in the wind and nobody would remember.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's just... and it's hard to spend a book trying to make a point that, trans athletes are invading your sport, invading women's athletics and taking over, and they're gonna fucking absolutely devastate all other women athletes and just are going to win everything.
And they
When
just
that's
don't.
not what happened in your anecdotal experience. That didn't happen. It didn't.
But it
like,
creates so many crybabies. I mean, not even crybabies, because a crybaby I can deal with. A cry bully I can't. And I feel
Yeah.
like the whole idea of the participation, like for instance, the No Child Left Behind nonsense, which I feel like, besides having some weird political undertones where feelings were involved, created a lot of cry bullies where it's just like, I can be low effort and still make it.
right.
And it messed up people who needed help real bad. It does affect everybody else to let everybody just kind of participate, and now they just have to feel like, well, I can make a career out of complaining about not really doing my best or not being good at what I do. I could just make a whole career about complaining. Hell, Ronda Rousey, one of the biggest like female MMA fighters,
Yep.
was the best, but the fact
Until
is
she
everybody
wasn't.
blew her head up. Exactly. She as a sportsman or sportswoman or whatever she wants to call herself should have already known her time would be short. It's a high turnover rate. The fact that she reached the top and will always be remembered is great, and she's messing up her own legacy because she knocked down into participation level.
Right.
And she's like, well, I lost because, my foot hurt that day and I had just fallen down the stairs. And
Conor McGregor's doing the same thing at this point.
And I had exact same with him.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to talk about his use of HGH because nobody's neck grows like that. Like, I didn't recognize him when he showed back up after breaking his own leg.
Where did I see it? Okay, when those dudes have they're so ripped, they've got the big muscles on their shoulders there.
Lats, yeah.
I saw a meme the other day that was like, I can never unsee. It looks like a tiny a smaller person shoved into the body of a larger person, with the two little shoulders sticking out.
Oh, so gross.
And when you see it now, I can't unsee it. It just looks like a tiny person shoved into a.
That is so gross.
Anyway, yeah, and okay. So we talk a little more about Generation Participation Trophy. I struggle with this all the time because my daughter. She's not she can be a sore loser, but she really struggles with not being the best at things, right? So like at school, they give out like these awards every marking period of these, the students that are exceptional. And they give them an award, and every single year she's gotten it at some point, but she didn't necessarily get it in the first marking period or the second marking period. In fact, the last 2 years, she got it in the fourth marking period. So 3 times she was devastated that she didn't get it. And I had to I was even telling her, like, you didn't get it, but like last time you got it at the end of the year. Like, so you gotta, and other kids have to have a chance to get it too. But, I don't know. Sometimes I see an issue with schools highlighting or rewarding certain things or giving out prizes to kids that do the best at something.
Yeah.
But then I think to myself, I'm like, what do I want them to do? Give out participation trophies? And give every kid a little award that says that they did great? Like, I don't want that either.
Yeah, it's answering with like, with emotion at that point, because even as a kid, because again, I was so I am self-deprecating, but I was so self-deprecating back then. Like, I did like a karate thing as a kid, and I didn't do too well. And I got like this plastic medal for just showing up.
Right.
And I remember feeling extremely insulted. Like it just felt passive aggressive and insulting. And I know that's not what they meant. As an adult,
You're like,
that.
hey, what you
just like,
give me this piece of shit for?
I didn't do well. I'm aware enough to know that I sucked. I didn't practice enough. And and kids, that's a complicated feeling for a child to feel, in my opinion.
Agreed.
And can create some weird, some weird feelings that probably will never get addressed. Right. And we don't ever think about the effect of doing participation trophies instead of like it's mirroring like surviving. If I didn't get away from the tiger isn't just going to, I'm just going to nibble your foot and then I'll let you go. because you at least tried to run away. Like, it doesn't do that.
No, life doesn't do that.
Yeah, so I think to give somebody something to strive for, like, man, I need to try better. Because I know you can say, well, the participation trophy could make you want to try to feel like you tried better. No, it doesn't, because a lot of people, it just makes them okay to settle.
Yes, and it's such a hard balance, right? Because I do think
it's never going to be perfect.
I think every kid needs to be made to feel unique and adequate and special in some way, shape, or form. But I think just blanket participation trophies are a bad idea. Like, make every
same thing except worse, because now you're drawing attention to how normal or boring you are.
Right, you're
drawing
every kid
drawing
has
attention to how much you suck at something. Okay, thanks.
But every kid has something special to offer, or has something they're going to excel at, or be better or more exceptional at than other things, right? So, like, let's celebrate those things, right? Okay, like maybe my kid wasn't the best. Maybe no, but I'm saying maybe my kid wasn't the best baseball player, but maybe my kid's really good at music. So let's celebrate that. Let's make them feel good about what they are good at, instead of making them feel like they got something for something that they don't excel at.
Now, I feel like schools kind of got, well, not all schools, because my school didn't do this, but the stereotype got it kind of right in a way, in a really messed up way, to making somebody feel, like, unique. When they did, when high school would do, like, the best smile, the
superlatives,
most warm, like the superlatives, like the small things they did, like, that made them special, because not everybody's going to be the richest person. Not everybody is going to be the smartest person.
The best football player, the best student, the best athlete.
Yeah, I feel like that's more effective, because it's picking out your attributes and saying, you're really good at just being someone to talk to.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like there are plenty of things. Every child is going to have something to offer. Every kid's going to have something to offer that they are going to be maybe not the best at, but good at. In their way. So it just seems like, let's celebrate those things instead of making up meaningless, awards or trophies.
You arrived
because you
here.
exist. Yeah.
No.
Let's do a better job of celebrating the spectrum that is, unique personalities and what people are going to excel and not excel at. And
on the negative side, I realize that also implies that, the people who can give out these awards invest in knowing who some of these kids are, some of these people are. And that is too much for a lot of people to even invest that amount of time.
That's true. Yeah, you're right.
On the negative side, it's never going to be perfect. Nothing that's ever suggested, and I don't give a shit what anybody says in any space. There is no suggestion that's going to be perfect, because it'll never work out. Because life and humanity and society are way too complicated and individualized.
Yeah, agreed.
It's just, and unless we're this weird homogenous hive mind, it's never going to work out that way. One day, power is going to knock out all the internet, and it's just going to be chaos. Like things are not going to be perfect, but we try to at least make the time we have currently as smooth as possible. And a participation trophy, in my opinion, is just going to make it worse, because it's either going to make people way too on the one side of, again, settling for less and expecting, well, I'm here, therefore I should be respected, and I should have 2 seats to my airplane because, I just made it so I did such a good job at just having 2 giant butt cheeks that I need them in these seats just because I arrived.
Way to gift wrap it there at the end.
So it's sad. It's very sad.
It is sad. All right. I guess we're done, huh?
Maybe. Yeah, it looks about that way.
Yeah. I complained enough. I feel like I complained enough for an hour.
I lectured enough.
Yeah, I feel good about it. All right, guys. That's our show for today. If you want to send us an email, go send us an email. Motherfuckers, just send us an email. Go send us an email so we have something to talk about.
Do it. Do it now.
Do it. Oh, my God.
Get to the typer.
I was scrolling Instagram. It. I don't think I sent it to you. I was scrolling Instagram, and there was Arnold Schwarzenegger doing the DuckTales theme song. Life is like a hurricane. It's Duckbug. Oh, it was so funny. Anyway, go to our website.
ATIWIHY.com.
And that's our show. You got anything to add?
Nope. I don't have anything clever. I'm brain dead.
Balls. I'm surprised I finished that book. Usually when I hate a book, I just don't finish it.
You just hit reading the whole time.
I did. I was like, I'm going to finish this up so I can shit on it properly. I didn't want to...
And you wrote a pretty succinct review.
Oh, I didn't want to, like, only read half of it and then shit on it and get something wrong. I wanted to make sure I read the whole book and then shit on it.
Yeah.
Peace!
Later.